What's going on, everyone? It's Ben from YGO from Zero back with another Retro Yu-Gi-Oh video, and this one is pretty special as this is the 850 sub spectacular. So we recently hit 850 subs on the channel, and we're fast on the way to 900, and when we reach 900, we'll do a 900 sub spectacular. But because we reached this special milestone, I figured I'd do a special video that has been asked for a couple times in the comments, where, for my previous sub special, I did a duel between the starter decks Yugi and starter deck Kaiba. And the next set of starter decks were starter deck Joey and starter deck Pegasus, which actually lent their names to Joey-Pegasus format. So I had people asking, why don't you show off a duel between starter deck Joey and starter deck Pegasus? And so in this special, that is exactly what we'll do. So before diving into the games, which are pretty fun, I mean, playing with these old classic cards is just pretty nostalgic and fun. Let's just go through the decks real quick and just talk about what they're each working with. So they don't really have like too much of a unifying theme. I mean, I think Pegasus has a bit more of a unifying theme than Joey, but I guess you could say that each of them specializes in a specific type of summoning mechanic. So Joey leans a bit more into fusion with Flame Swordsman and Thousand Dragon, along with polymerization and the materials to make those fusion summons work, as well as having the classic Red Eyes Black Dragon. And it just has like also a fair amount of beaters. So there's Seven Colored Fish, Darkfire Soldier #1, and Sky Scout, or originally Harpy's brother. And so these can be used to just get aggressive. We also have Karate Man and Gearfried as well. Karate Man is just good, basically one-time removal. 2000 attack, get in, beat over your opponent's monster. It's also got Mindless Radiant to buff up your Earth monsters, which don't really come up that often, but it can come up occasionally. I don't really know why they included this here, given that there aren't really many Earth monsters in the deck. I mean, Gearfried, Karate Man, Armored Lizard, and Masaki, I guess, but I guess Swordsman and Landstar as well, but that's pretty much it. So kind of weird synergy there. But that's how a lot of these decks go. Just very strange synergy cards. Like Dragon Treasure has very few targets in this deck, but the deck is playing it. One of the most powerful cards in Joey that I think is worth talking about is Penguin Soldier. This card is great. It returns 2 monsters on the field to the hand, which can be used against things like Pegasus is Relinquished, for instance. It can also be used against Tribute monsters as well. So this card is very good in this format. For these spells, each deck has some power spells. So Joey has Change of Heart, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn here, as well as the all-powerful Remove Trap, which I'm not sure if Pegasus is actually playing Ultimate Offering to give this thing a target. But it's kind of just funny in the deck. Also, there's Scapegoat here, iconic spell from this set, and just very good at getting defensive here. For the traps, there are a lot of attack modification things, so like castle walls, reinforcements, as well as reverse trap to counter your opponent's attack modification things. And also, of course, they're the standard trap hole, Wuboku, that sort of thing. Just very good traps here. So that's going to do it for my brief cursory overview of Joey. I'm not going to go through like card by card, as a lot of them are just like normal monsters that don't really have much to talk about there. And a lot of the spells are just kind of like classic cards from the era that, probably won't come up, but they're interesting to see in the deck. So let's quickly go over Pegasus, and then let's dive into the games. So for Pegasus, Joey focused on fusion, Pegasus focused on ritual summoning with Relinquished here. Now, Relinquished is a very powerful monster. You can see this in formats like Treasure or Imperial, where the Relinquished deck actually does have some legs, and actually has been pretty decent in the past. So this deck, if it can bring out Relinquish, that's pretty good, as there are a lot less removal options in Joey's deck to deal with that, and Relinquish is a really annoying monster to deal with. So that's going to be, I think, the main game plan here. There are some ways to search out Relinquish with things like Witch of the Black Forest, and I thought this deck had Sangan as well, but I guess it doesn't. I guess it just has Witch. But Witch can search out Relinquish, Witch can also search out Sonic Bird, which can search out Black Illusion Ritual. Unfortunately, this deck is not playing a Senju of the Thousand Hands, so you don't have that monster to search out Relinquished, but, Sonic Bird is probably the better of the two searchers if you have to pick between them. And this deck also plays with the tunes. So we've got Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, Toon Mermaid, Toon Summon Skull, and Manga Reran. Now, this is not a good strategy. Like, tunes are really bad. And you have to you have to hard draw into Toon World in a 50-card deck to bring these out, so they're even worse given that. But, like, if we do manage to exhaust from our opponent's removal and then manage to stick, like, a Blue-Eyes Toon Dragon on field, I'm not really sure what they're doing to win the game from that position. So, I think that, if we can set up this strategy, it can be very good, but as is, it just seems like a lot of Brooks in the deck. But, that's how these games do go sometimes. So, I'm not going to go through all the card by cards here. As I said, for the Joey thing, a lot of them are just vanilla normal monsters. There are some fun things in this deck, though. For instance, it's playing Red Archery Girl, as well as just regular Ryuran, which are the inspirations for Manga Ryuran and Toon Mermaid. So that's kind of fun. Also playing Toon Alligator, which is a Toon technically, although it's just a normal monster. So that's kind of the interesting part of the monsters. Also playing Muka Muka, which can be pretty big in this deck if we manage to stick it on field and keep it around for a while. Besides that, the deck is pretty standard. Like, the spells and traps are relatively similar to Joey. It's got Change of Heart, Dark Hole, and Monster Reborn, which is the power spell that Joey has as well. Although this deck also has Graceful Charity, which is just insane. Like, this card is really, really good. It potentially puts Pegasus over the top of Joey. Although I think that, unlike with Yugi Kaiba, there's not really a clear, like, this is the best deck of the two. I think that they both have their strengths and disadvantages, and it can often just depend on what you draw in a given game state, which deck is winning. I think that Pegasus might have the slight edge just because the ritual strategy is a bit better than the fusion strategy, but the tunes do drag it down a bit. So unclear which is the better deck. Let me know down in the comments below, especially after watching the games and seeing, potentially these decks in action, seeing which one might be better or more to your taste. But yeah, the traps are relatively the same as with Joey. There are some differences here. For instance, Pegasus is playing Robin Goblin. He's playing some more counter traps like Gryphon Wing. Oh, this isn't a counter trap. That's weird. Okay, well, Gryphon Wing is never going to see play here anyways. It just negates Harpy's Feather Duster, but it's playing more like things that negate. So Gryphon Wing, Magic Jammer, and Seven Tools of the Bandit are all in Pegasus' deck, so a bit more controlling, which makes sense for the Relinquish side of things, and also for Pegasus' controlling personality in the anime. So, just interesting things to note here. And I guess we are playing Ultimate Offering for our opponent's Remove Trap, and we're also playing Remove Trap, best spell in the format. But, yeah, so I mean, I could talk about the quirks of these two decks for a while, but I just want to dive into the games to just show you how these decks work in action, because I think the games that we got with these are really, really fun and definitely deserving of an 850 sub special. Okay, we've got these games against Soul65, who's a frequent guest on the channel. Happy to have them on board for the 850 sub special. When making these games, I basically asked Soul, do you want Joey or Pegasus to start? We're going to switch, but, which one do you want to start out with? And they said Joey. So they are playing Joey. We're playing Pegasus. Let's see how this first set of games go here. We do win the rock, paper, scissors, so we are going to be going first, which I'm not sure how much that matters in this particular matchup, but, it's still kind of neat to see. And we have a pretty defensive hand, but honestly, that's not too bad in this sort of situation. We're going to set a Toon Alligator, a reasonable defender. There are things in Joey's deck that gets over it, like Darkfire Soldier #1, Gearfried, Sky Scout, etc. But most monsters in that deck does not. So it could be just good to test the waters here with this set. Maybe I should have just gone for the Matador right away, but I don't want to play into like removal a bit. And Matador has a decent attack as well. We're going to set Ring of Magnetism and Black Pendant and just pass back to our opponent. There really is not much spell and trap removal in this format, so I think this is fine to do. Our opponent's going to think of it and just set 2 and pass. We feel very good about that, and we feel even better about drawing this Witch. That is insane here, because we can just commit Witch to board. We know our opponent has Dark Hole in their deck, but if they fire Dark Hole here, we get a search, so it's not that bad. We could have potentially flipped up Toon Alligator as well and gotten in for 19, but 800 attack is really, really weak, and there are many things that our opponent has that might be able to beat over it, so we don't want to necessarily reveal our set there. Opponent's going to set 1, pass back to us. We draw a Reborn, which is really good. We can feel better about committing more to board here. We're going to commit a Red Archery Girl and equip it with a Black Pendant, figuring that our opponent doesn't really have many monsters that can actually stand up to that. Like Island Turtle, I think, is like the only one that they've got. And we're just going to try and get really aggressive here. So we're going to hit in to their set. Unfortunately, it's Penguin Soldier, so they'll be able to bounce back our Red Archery Girl and our Witch with Black Forest, popping our Black Pendant, which will deal 500 to them. So that's nice, but kind of a waste of a Black Pendant. and we will be able to get in with Toon Alligator as well, so that's kind of nice, but kind of unfortunate here. Opponent's going to bring out a Karate Man, equip it with a Malevolent Nuzzler, attack in for 1700 here. They will be able to hit over the Toon Alligator, and we're in kind of a tough spot. We don't have anything to actually deal with that Karate Man, but D-Spell actually does solve our issue. We're going to bring out a Witch of the Black Forest, fire a D-Spell on the Malevolent Nuzzler, and attack into Karate Man. Now, they could potentially have reinforcements. If they want to use reinforcements on this, we're absolutely fine with that. As it gets reinforcements out of the way, we get a Search Off Witch. So we feel very good about that. We're going to attack in, and they're just going to take it. They'll lose 100, and we'll pass back to them. So we feel very good about this. Our opponent's just going to set one, pass back to us. We draw a Giant Soldier Stone, which is pretty good for later. We're just going to commit this Red Archer Girl to field. They already know about it, so I'm fine doing this. We're going to hit into their set, see what it is. It's a Swordsman of Landstar, which actually would have walled up our Witch, so I'm glad we got aggressive here. We're going to attack in for 1100, pass back to our opponent. They are going to bring out a Darkfire Soldier #1, which actually does cause us some issues here, as that is an attack that we can't deal with now. If we draw Toon World, then we can bring up Blue Eyes Toon Dragon pretty easily. We just commit one more monster to board and then bring it out, but fortunately we have to hard draw that Toon World, which is not an easy task. Our opponent's just going to pass back to us. We do have a kind of awkward out against that Darkfire Soldier #1. We can Reborn back the Karate Man, buff up its attack into Darkfire Soldier #1. But having drawn this reinforcements, I actually want to wait a turn on that. As you know, if they've got a reinforcement of their own, then I want to actually have our own reinforcements to deal with theirs. So I feel like it's better just to wait here. And they're just going to attack into our set. It's Aquamador. They'll take 300 from that, which, you know, chip damage is pretty good. And they're going to pass back to us. And I feel very good about this play here. We're going to Reborn back this Karate Man, and we're going to double its attack to 2000. Now, funny thing about Reverse Trap, which we do know is in our opponent's deck, doesn't actually affect multiplications. It just affects additions and subtractions. So if it's activated on Karate Man, nothing will actually happen there. So kind of funny to see. We're just going to go all out. Our opponent could have like a Waboku here, which would be pretty bad. But it's ultimately not the worst thing in the world. We've got another 2K defender in hand, and if our opponent doesn't have Waboku here, we're feeling pretty good about this. Looks like they do not, so they're going to take that 300, and we'll hit in for 11 and 12. So we feel pretty good about that, and we're just going to pass back to them. Cryman will die here, which is a little bit unfortunate. We would have liked to keep that around, but it served its purpose. Our opponent's at 1500, which is very, very low. So I feel very, very good about this. Opponent's going to set 2, pass back to us. We draw Jigen Bakudan, which could potentially provide us with an alt-win condition if we need it, which is just very, very funny to say, as this card is really, really bad. But we're just going to go aggressive here, just trying to hit in, deal the last bit of damage, and it looks like that will be the end of the game. It was just a white magical hat. Their sets were all bluffs, and yeah, just kind of unfortunate to see. It looks like they drew a bunch of spells and traps that didn't really do anything, and didn't really draw any good monsters to back it up. So we got pretty lucky in that game 1 there. Now let's go into game 2. There's no side deck here, so not really much we can side against, because there's just nothing to side into. So we're just going to run it back, same decks, and see how it goes this time. Our opponent's going first this time, so that could potentially give them a nice advantage here. But we've drawn some pretty good cards. Muka Muka is really good to commit to early. We're actually going to go for a Sonic Bird first. And the reason is we want to just deck thin as much as possible. We don't want to draw dead cards. And summoning the Sonic Bird first can allow us to do that. And we can always commit to Muka Muka next turn. The Sonic Bird replaces itself in hand. So, you know, that Muka Muka will still be pretty buffed up. Opponent's going to summon out an Armored Lizard, and that will actually deal with the Sonic Bird by 100 attack there. And then they're just going to set 1, pass back to us. We draw Relinquish, so we can actually go for that play if we want to. We're going to make the simpler play with Muka Muka first. Try and get our opponent to use removal on this before they actually try and use removal on a Relinquished. So we've got Relinquished waiting in the wings here, and we feel very, very good about that. So our opponent's going to just set 1, and, you know, we're just going to bring out a Dream Clown and get aggressive here. We're just going to hit in for 12 plus 24, so a whopping 3,600. Looks like our opponent's just going to take that. If they've got Dark Hole here, that's unfortunate, but they won't be able to use that on the Relinquished when we bring that out. So they're going to bring out a Mahavilo here, attack into Dream Clown. We will take that, and we draw Enchanted Javelin, which is not good. We're just going to hit into the Mahavelo here with the Muka Muka. They're going to take that, but they're going to do the think emoji, which means that they might have something like a Waboku or something like that. So all the more reason to hold Relinquished in hand. Our opponent's going to think about this a bit, and they're just going to set one, pass back to us. We draw Toon World, so now we can actually go for a manga rerun play later on if we want to as well. We don't necessarily want to do this yet. We're just going to bring out a red archery girl and just try attacking in here for game. Opponent's going to think about this, let the Masaki die. We're going to attack in with the Muka Muka, and they're going to go for a Waboku. I wonder why they went for the Waboku here as opposed to with the Masaki. Might mean that they've got a dark hole in our future. But I think they probably should have just preserved the Masaki on field. They're going to set one, set another, pass back to us. Kind of unfortunate there. They're going to go, or we're going to go for D-Spell just to check that that's not a Scapegoat or something that can stop our play here, because I feel like they would have gone for Scapegoat before going for Waboku. But we're going to then go for Black Illusion Ritual, tributing the Manga Reren in hand, taking control of their set. And we're just going to try and go for game here, as we do have it on field. So if this goes through, we will win. It looks like it will indeed go through. Yeah, they just had Just Desert, 7 tools, Castle Walls, and Moth and a Mountain. Yeah, so kind of unfortunate there for them. Yeah, not really much they could have done here because we had Fisher for the Masaki either way. If they had just activated the Waboku and preserved it on the field. So it wouldn't have mattered either way there, but still cool that we actually managed to pull off the Relinquished win con in the Pegasus deck, and also cool that we actually had the Toon stuff online if we really wanted to. Although we really did not need it in this game, we just had this game in such control, and that is maybe sort of a sign that the Pegasus deck is better than the Joey deck. However, you know, it wouldn't be a full subscriber special doing this sort of thing if we didn't then swap decks and I played Joey and my opponent played Pegasus. So let's see how that game goes now. Okay, we got the run back. Soul's on Pegasus this time. We're on Joey. Let's see how it goes for us. I feel like going into this match, I was kind of not confident in the Joey deck given how poorly it matched up against Pegasus in the previous game. But you never know. Things could be better than I expected, although given this hand, maybe not. Oof, this is a rough one. I'm just going to start off by setting Big Eye and then setting Dragon Treasure and Reinforcements. Big Eye can help us stack our deck a bit better, so that way we know what's coming and have just like better plays. Now, our opponent's going to go for a Graceful Charity, draw 3, and pitch 2. So they will pitch a Hero Shadow Scout and a Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. Heroes make sense as it's basically draw 3 in this format. There aren't really as many power spells that would actually be the best here. So, yeah, you want to get rid of that. Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, you might want to keep to develop later, but I mean, it's not bad to send it because it's really just dead in hand unless you do draw Toon World. So I don't fault them for sending that. Opponent's going to set 1, set 2, and pass back to us. And we're going to flip up this Big Eye, then have a chance to stack our deck. We're just going to do this by banishing the top 5 and seeing what we get here. This is a very interesting set of cards. I think what we might want to do... So, Change of Heart plus Red Eyes could potentially be removal here. But it's kind of convoluted. We need a monster on field already. So, it's kind of awkward. I think what we want to do... We want to put Darkfire Soldier number 1 on top because that's aggressive pressure right away. Then we put Change of Heart, then we put Red Eyes, then we put Scapegoat, then we put Time Wizard because Time Wizard's kind of our like emergency button. So if our opponent does manage to deal with everything that we've put up on field to this point, then we can bring out Time Wizard, just go for a frantic coin toss and try and wipe away our opponent's board. But we want to just get the aggressive pressure going. So, yeah, I think that's what we do here. So, we're going to think about this for quite a bit because it is a bit tough to actually do this. And we do indeed stack the Time Wizard 5th, the Scapegoat 4th, the Red Eyes 3rd, and then the Change of Heart 2nd. So, yep, that is indeed what we do here. I think that's probably the best sort of configuration. We're just going to hit into a set. It is an Armed Ninja, so they'll be able to potentially snipe one of our back row. They do indeed hit the actual spell we have set, which is a bit unfortunate, but at least it preserves that we have a reinforcements. Like, they don't know that we do, so they could potentially play into that a little bit. Maybe they'll think that both of our back row are spells, so... I think that's pretty good. We draw Darkfire Soldier, which is pretty good. We're going to flip at this Princess Tsurugi, deal 1,000, summon out Darkfire Soldier. That will get Trap Hold, but we're just going to hit in here. That Man-Eater Bug will be able to pop our Big Eye, which is a bit unfortunate, but we will still be able to get in for 900 damage here. So the fact that they were willing to pop our Big Eye is a pretty good sign for us, I think. Opponents just going to set 2, pass back to us. We draw Change of Heart, which is very nice. We're going to bring up Flame Manipulator because, they didn't have a way to deal with Princess Tsurugi. Maybe they won't have a way to deal with this. This does make a potential, Flame Swordsman play later a bit worse. But I know that I'm drawing into Time Wizard before I draw into Polymerization, given the top couple cards of my deck. So I figure that, if we do manage to go for a Polymerization play later, we could potentially just go for Thousand Dragon instead, which is the better fusion monster anyways. So we're going to bring out Flame Manipulator, attack into the set, and see if it's good. It's just a Mask of Darkness. Our opponent will be able to bring back a Trap Hole, but we're able to just keep this 900 beats going. Only in this sort of game would you ever have a monster with 900 attack just beating in and actually managing to survive. Opponent's going to set 2, pass back to us. We draw Red Eyes Black Dragon, so we are just going to go for that play. Change of Hearting their set. It's Giant Soldier of Stone, so we'll flip that up. And just attack in with everything. We know about the Trap Hole that our opponent has, so we don't necessarily want to play Red Eyes into that right away. And we just want to get in a ton of damage right now. We're then going to, in main phase 2, tribute over our Flame Manipulator and our Giant Soldier of Stone to set the Red Eyes. I think we could have potentially just tributed over the Princess Tsurugi. There are very, very edge cases where our Flame Manipulator actually managed to survive to the point where we get to do a Flame Swordsman combo. But, yeah, I mean, it won't matter in the long run, probably. So we set the Red Eyes here. We could have summoned it out, caused them to use up the Trap Hole right away. But I don't want to turn their Reborn online if they've got Reborn to bring back the Black Dragon. So I'm just going to set it now. And then this turn we can flip it up. If they've got Trap Hole, which they do, they're going to use that there. And then we can potentially go for a Reborn. But instead we're just going to go for Spirit of the Heart plus Tsurugi. Because this way we don't have to commit our Reborn right away. And also this is game with reinforcements here. They are going to Waboku that. And we probably should have switched Tsurugi to defense, but we don't actually want it to die. Our opponent has not been able to clear a 900 attack monster yet, so we don't necessarily want to open up Tsurugi to dying to an 800 attack monster. So our opponent's going to set 2, pass back to us. I don't really see a reason to commit much to board here, although now that Waboku's gone, we might as well, because they don't actually have a way to stop it. And we can actually finish them off with the Red Eyes Black Dragon, living out our full Joey dreams, and that will indeed go through. So it looks like they didn't really have anything too good here. Yeah, they bricked on Relinquished and Toon Summon Skull, which can happen in a deck playing Rituals in Toons, so kind of unfortunate for them. Although, no, I don't think they had Toon World, but I don't know. Oh, they might have drawn Toon World after they dropped below. I don't know. I don't know. I should have checked better to see if they had Toon World there. But if they had Toon World, they could have potentially gone for a Summon Skull play. Although they didn't have any monsters there, so they could have just drawn Toon World. So yeah, it might have just been unlucky in that sort of way there. But a win is a win either way. So we are going to go into game 2, and let's see how we do here. So our opponent will have the initiative going first here, but this is a pretty great hand. We open Sky Scout, I've got Sangan plus Big Eye. If we have really bad draws coming up that we know about off of Big Eye, we can use Sangan to shuffle up our deck and avoid those draws, so it's really nice. We're going to go for a Graceful again in the opener, discard Rioran and Jigen Bakadam, which is probably the right choice there. They're going to set 1, pass back to us. I feel very good about this. We're going to bring out Sky Scout and attack in for 1800. Unfortunately, it's Muka Muka, which will actually wall up perfectly here. And that's really, really unfortunate. We can't really easily deal with a Muka Muka. I mean, we could bring out Time Wizard and just try and pop it that way. But it's really risky. So they're going to hit in to our Sky Scout for 600. We draw Malevolent Nuzzler, which could potentially be a way to deal with the Muka Muka there. They're going to hit in to our set here with the 2700 attack Muka Muka. It's a Big Eye again. We'll be able to look at the top 5 cards of our deck. And we have some stinkers coming up. Remove Trap and Baby Dragon are not really good here. But, Karate Man, Reborn, and Reinforcements can be pretty decent. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to stack Remove Trap 5th, Baby Dragon 4th, Karate Man 3rd, maybe? And then Reinforcement 2nd, Monster Reborn 1st. I think that's what we might do. Let's actually see what we do here. We're going to send back the Remove Trap. Yep. We're going to send back the Baby Dragon. We're going to send back... oh, we accidentally messed up and add Karate Man to hand. But since our opponent knows that this is going into a video, I'm not going to reveal it. because it was indeed the Karate Man that I put back and put back on top. So then we put reinforcements, then we put a reborn there. So I think that is what makes the most sense here. Our opponents then go into set 1 and pass back to us. Now, we could potentially wait for the reinforcements to go for the Reborn plus Nuzzler play, because Re-Ran is in Graveyard. Reborn plus Nuzzler gets over the Muka Muka there. But I think I'm feeling a little bit greedy. I'm going to Reborn the Re-Ran now and then go for Nuzzler. I have the read that their set is just a bluff. That doesn't actually do anything here because they just had to set for hand size. And even if it's something like reinforcements, that will tie our Re-Ran here. So I'm not too worried about that. Unfortunately, it is the worst thing that it could possibly be for us, which is a Rush Recklessly. So that will indeed get their Muka Muka over our Re-Ran buffed with Nuzzler. We do not want to put Nuzzler on top of the deck. We'd much prefer the reinforcements. And main 2, you know what? We made a bad play. We're just going to try and make up for it with a Time Wizard here. Just see what happens. Not likely to work out well for us, but, you know, we got to go for it. And we actually do manage to hit it. So we clear that Muka Muka. And we feel very good about that, even though our Time Wizard is very vulnerable here. And we got some pretty weak monsters in hand, although Sangan can search out a monster from deck. Our opponent's going to bring out a Dream Clown here, which is unfortunate. We don't actually have a way to deal with that. We can hit into our Time Wizard for 700 and just pass back to us. We draw reinforcements, which we did know was coming. We don't necessarily want Karate Man, so, you know, we're just going to set the Sangan and pass back to them. They are going to fire a Soul Release here, banishing our graveyard here in case we have something like Magician Face set. They're going to banish 4, and then they're actually going to banish their Jigen Bakudan. I mean, it doesn't matter. Our Reborn is gone. I guess, yeah, our Reborn's banished, so we can't even bring back Magician of Faith. And, you know, Jigen is just a really bad card. So, very funny that they did that. They're going to bring out a Red Archery Girl here, pop our Sangan with the Dream Clown, so we do get a search here. We're going to grab an Armored Lizard, which does clear the Red Archery Girl and the Dream Clown. They're going to hit in for 14 here. And then they're just going to pass back to us. We draw Mila's Radiant, which can combo pretty well with the Armored Lizard here. We're going to hit in to the Dream Clown there, pass back to them, and they are going to switch the Red Archer Girl Defense set 1, pass back to us. We draw 7-card fish, so we have 2 options here. We can summon out the Mila's Radiant, buff up the Armored Lizard to 2000, attack into the Red Archer Girl with that, attack into their set with the Mila's Radiant. But I feel like it's probably better just to bring out the 7-card fish. As, you know, if that set is like a Man-Eater bug, then we don't necessarily want them to pop the Armored Lizard yet, because then that makes our Milas pretty useless. So they'll probably pop the 7-card fish if it is a Man-Eater bug, and it is indeed a Man-Eater bug, so they'll pop the 7-card fish, but we still have the Milas plus Armored Lizard play for next turn. So I feel pretty good about that sequencing there. Although you could argue that we should have preserved the 7-card fish for later because it is just an individually strong monster. I mean, you could do it either way, I think. But, yeah. They're just leaving an empty board state here, so we're just going to bring out Mila's Radiant. We're going to attack in with Milas and Armored Lizard here, getting in for 2,800. This does play into things like Dark Hole, I guess, but honestly, I mean, if they clear this board, that's perfectly fine. This got more value than we ever expected Mila's Radiant to get. They do indeed have the Dark Hole here to clear our board, and then they're just going to pass back to us. Now, they don't have any back row, so there's not really much point to setting Tsurugi. I'm just going to summon it and just attack in, because why not? They need to bring out a monster to clear this. It looks like they don't have any monsters to do that with, and we do have reinforcements in case their monster is not the strongest. So we feel very good about this. We're just going to set the 7 tools, pass back to them, and they're going to think about this a bit. Set 1, set another, pass back to us. We draw a giant Trunade here, which is like not the best, but not the worst either. We can potentially use this when we're going for an aggressive push. We're just going to attack in the set with Tsurugi. It is a Hero Shadow Scout, so we'll be able to draw 3 here, basically. Honestly, get that remove trap out of here. That is perfectly fine for us. We draw Fake Trap and Penguin Soldier as well. I don't actually know if our opponent has cards to remove our traps, so maybe setting Fake Trap wouldn't be the best here. But I'm going to do it anyways. I think this was actually a major misplay as it clogs up my back row a bit too much. But yeah, we're going to set a Penguin Soldier as well. We can potentially get a pretty nice loop here going. They're going to set one, pass back to us. We draw a Reliable Guardian, which is pretty decent here, to potentially buff up our Penguin Soldier. We're going to attack in for 900. Main two, we're going to set the Penguin Soldier, and we're actually going to think about this for quite a bit, because we're actually debating setting the Reliable Guardian. That does lock up our back row completely, though, so it might not necessarily be the best play, but the reason we'd set it is if they bring in a monster that doesn't necessarily have enough attack to clear 1200, and they try attacking the Penguin Soldier that way, we can use Reliable Guardian to buff up the Penguin Soldier's defense and keep it alive. I mean, it's not the best play in the world, but it is a play we can make. And it would potentially get some value out of Reliable Guardian. But I choose not to clog up my back row because I figure the odds of that actually happening is very low. So I'm just going to pass back to our opponent. They're going to bring out a Mask of Darkness here, and I'm kicking myself for not going for the Reliable Guardian play. We're actually going to think about whether we want to bounce the mask, because then they can get back a trap. But they don't really have any traps in grave, so I think that's ultimately fine. Then main two, they're going to set one, pass back to us. We draw Trap Hole, which is very nice. We're going to hit in for 900 here, and that will connect. We're going to set the Trap Hole, pass back to our opponent. We feel fine clogging up the back row of the Trap Hole because anything that we've got here is honestly pretty decent, and will get used before we potentially would want to go for a True Nade play. So I feel like this is ultimately fine. They're just going to set one, pass back to us. We're going to attack in for 900. Tsurugi beats. That Tsurugi's been putting in more value than any Tsurugi has in the history of this game. So we feel really good about that. They're going to set one, pass back to us, and we're just going to hit in again for another 900. And we're going to pass back to them. They're down to 700, which is really good for us. We could have preemptively fired the reinforcements there just to get them down to 200, which is really, really risky on their part. But I think it's ultimately fine. They're going to bring out a Mask of Darkness, set one, pass back to us. Change of Heart would have allowed us to go for game if we actually had back row space to use, but unfortunately we didn't have it. So they're going to go for Wuboku here. We're going to chain a 7 tools because we do actually manage to potentially win here if this goes through. Unfortunately, they've got a reinforcement of their own there, so we will crash the Tsurugi into the Mask. We don't really have a monster to follow that up with. We're going to set this Castle Walls, pass back to our opponent. And see what they do here. They're going to set one, pass back to us. We draw Eternal Rest, which is not bad. We're going to go for a Change of Heart here, figuring that if this is anything with 700 or more attack, we just potentially win the game here. Unfortunately, it's an Armed Ninja, so we will be able to pop their set. It's an MST, so they'll be able to go for a trap here, and maybe Remove Trap will come up clutch here. Unfortunately, they hit the Remove Trap, or not the Remove Trap, the Fake Trap, and so we won't actually get to use that effect. I mean, either way, it would have been destroyed, but it would have been funnier if we actually did it that way. Anyways, we're going to hit in for 300. Won't be enough to kill them. And then set this Reliable Guardian here. Pass back to them. Send the Armed Ninja back to them. And they're going to tribute set a monster, fire a Yami here, and pass back to us. We draw a Reverse Trap, which is pretty nice. We're going to pass back to them. And they're going to set one and set another, pass back to us. We draw a Baby Dragon. And you know what? We're just going to fire a True Nade here. Clear the entire back row in case they've got a trap hole, because we do want to get our Baby Dragon to stick here. And we're just gonna bring it out, attack another set, see what it is. It is a Toon Alligator, so we won't be able to clear that even if we had equipped Baby Dragon with Dragon's Treasure. But we're just going to set a bunch of back row here and pass back to our opponent. Now, we actually are set up to potentially clear their board next turn, and here's how. So we got Fisher to deal with Toon Alligator, and we've got Reliable Guardian, Castle Walls, and Reverse Trap to potentially deal with whatever they might have set in the tribute set there. So if we attack in to their set, Reverse Trap on attack declaration, and then go for Reliable Guardian plus Castle Walls on whatever defense position monster they've got, that will likely enable our Baby Dragon to get over that. So that will be able to clear their field, and I feel pretty good about the next turn. Now, the issue is, of course, if they bring in a monster that can potentially clear Baby Dragon, but we do have Trap Hole for that. So really the only risk is if they've got, like, Reborn. They're just going to set 2, pass back to us, and I feel very good about this. We draw Karate Man, which is great. This enables us to potentially go for game here. We're going to bring out Karate Man, and we are going to fire its effect. Again, as I mentioned earlier in this video, Karate Man's multiplication actually is not affected by Reverse Trap, so this is perfectly fine, and it gives us a bit of a safer option in going to that set. So we're attacking with Karate Man, and on attack declaration, we are going to go for the Reverse Trap here. So that won't affect Karate Man, but it will allow us in damage step to go for a Reliable Guardian, and that will indeed be the end of the game there. So they had a Castle Walls and a Griffin Wing here as well. So this actually worked out incredibly well with the reverse trap, as it managed to prevent our opponent from actually using Castle Walls to protect the Illusion's Faceless Mage there as well. So really fun games with these decks. I do think that the Pegasus deck is probably a little bit better, although, you know, it can brick, as you can see in some of these hands here. 3 tunes and no Toon World. That really hurts. And at this point in the game, even if Soul drew Toon World, it would be useless here because, I mean, they can't pay 1,000. So, yeah, pretty rough games for our opponent here. I think that they just, you know, bricked on a lot of things, and that's what happens occasionally with these starter decks, as they are playing some very bricky pieces. But I do think that these games were still a blast to play. Very nostalgic for a lot of these cards. I mean, I know for me, my first major Yu-Gi-Oh product were Starter Deck Joey and Starter Deck Pegasus. Playing them with my family, it was just really fun. So this is a blast from the past for me. Really, really fun. I hope that you all enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you want to help us reach that 900 sub special goal, then definitely subscribe to the channel. I release retro Yu-Gi-Oh content weekly, and it's always a blast. And we're currently close to the end of exploring Yada format, which is a really fun DM era format. So definitely check that out if you're interested in great DM era formats. And then we'll be moving on to our next format, which is currently, you know, untitled. There is a lot of debate over what the title should be. So I'm going to put that up to a vote in the Discord server, link in the description down below, when we do approach that point. So if you want to be a part of that conversation, definitely hop on over to there. But I hope that you enjoyed this video as always. Definitely let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. And until next time, I've been Ben from YGO from Zero, and I'm signing off.